So I know you're alive. There we go. Wonderful. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. It is absolutely brilliant to have so many of you joining so soon, which is absolutely awesome. Right. So we've got a few minutes whereby we're just waiting for people to arrive, people to get into the room, and to basically make sure that we have all the technicals there done and dusted. I think that we have a fantastic team here, so I have no worries whatsoever. Okay, so while we're doing this, just to sort of have a little thing for you to look at. All of you can see my screen up there, and the main point is that it says on the screen here, where's Wally? Now, some of you have done this, some of you have not done this, some of you have done this and absolutely hated it. So therefore, it'll be a new experience, or it'll be something where you go, I know where this is, but I can't find it. Right, so within the picture that you're going to be looking at, there is a very small figurine, and his name is Wally. Now, Wally is dressed in a red stripy top. Your task is to actually find him. Now, obviously, this is where I ask my colleagues to help me, because what I want you to do, there will be letters and numbers, a bit like a map. When you find Wally, what I want you to do is I want you to write in the chat where you find him. Okay, now you can do it to any of our colleagues over here, and then we'll find out who is quickest. Does everyone understand? Yes, give me a nod of the head, shake of the leg. Wonderful. All right, so there we go. This is your first picture. Where is Wally? Let's see if we've got anyone coming into the chat yet.
It's not an easy one, Keith, I admit.
It is not an easy one, but then again, we have very, very special people here, so therefore I have high expectations from all of you. This also goes for our panelists. You can see if you can find Wally as well.
Yes, actually, I think one of our panelists, Irina, probably answered that.
Yeah, somebody wrote it in the general chat, so it wasn't too hard to find then.
Oh no!
Thank you.
What takes it? Okay, so Anna, there we go. We've got Anna. Yes, you found it. Wonderful. You are absolutely awesome. Now, okay, this was it difficult? Was it easy? I mean, you seem to get it pretty quickly, so that means I've got a pretty high caliber of people going on here.
Yes,
so,
actually, Irina was already warmed up, so she was on time. And
thank you so much, Csaba. Okay, so if you're so smart, if you think you're that good, have a look at this one.
There are many new people in the room, so please repeat the task. Probably not everybody got it.
Okay, let them in. I can see them in. So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are. What you see in front of you is you see a picture. Within this picture, you will see there is a postcard at the top of the screen. The top of the screen, there is a small face of a person with glasses and a red stripy hat. Within that picture, the same person can be found. Your task is to find that person. Now, so do we have anyone who has found it yet? I know this is not so easy, guys. This is, it's good fun though. And no shouting out, and don't put it in the general chat. Only send it over to me. Otherwise, everyone go like, no, there it is. Actually, even though you say that, you might not be able to find it. All right, we're admitting lots of people into the room. Absolutely fantastic. Let's have a look at what's been said in the chat. All right, has anyone found it yet? Csaba. I see a lot of frowning faces looking at this. This is wonderful. I actually use this on a training, and some people seem to find it very quickly. Others couldn't find it at all. And it's one of these ones where once you find it, you go, there it is, of course. Why didn't I see that before? Actually, you know what, Csaba? We should send this out afterwards so other people can play this and have a go.
Absolutely. Good idea.
Yeah.
And actually, people are still arriving. So we are at 176 and I'm just clicking constantly and admitting the people arriving to this call.
I want more.
Yes, we want more, and we'd like to ask your patience for a while. That probably some people still need some time to join us.
The funny thing is, I found it once and then you lose it again, and then you have to find it again. So basically speaking, this is one of these icebreakers we utilize for you within the HR community. And it's a way of getting people to really sort of concentrate, to get their mind focused, to look at what's in front of them, to see, okay, what is it that you really want to find? It is something that can be sent out. It can be used in a team building. It can be used as a singular exercise. It can also be done because obviously you could either print it out on a big wall, you could send it to people. So therefore, whether your people are remote or whether they are within a room itself, it can be used in all of these ways. So in that way, I like this as an icebreaker. I've actually used it, I think it was 3 times I've used this. And there is one other picture which is even harder than this one. All right. So that there is one more which is possible. Okay. How are we doing on timing? I'm just trying to...
Maybe the last one, Keith, and we should start.
Yeah. Are you sure? You reckon they're ready for this, Csaba?
Yes, I think so. People are still arriving, but just to be conscious about time of everybody.
You just want to have a look at it, don't you? You just want to have a go. All right, there you go. There it is. This is the horrible one. All right. If you guys can find this, I will be severely impressed. But we are watching the time here as well. As soon as we get one person found it. Any messages in the chat? Anybody found it so far in the chat?
Let's check. Yeah, not everybody's clear what they should find. They should find Wally. Yeah. For those ones who just arrived, this is the.
You snooze, you lose. All right.
1 second, and we kick out with the serious program.
All right, no problem at all. Thank you so much, Csaba. Brilliant. How many people have we got in the room so far?
Yes, 197, and people are still arriving. So I would like to ask Tadej and Flora and maybe Reka as well to take over and admit people. I didn't find any good answer in the chat. Actually, I don't know. I don't know exactly the answer.
All right. So what we're going to do, Csaba, this is what we're going to do. We're going to send through these slides, or they're going to be accessible. I have no idea how technically we're going to do it, but for anyone who's coming into the room and anyone who's seen this, we'll make sure that these slides are available to you, and you can have a look at it. All right, and see what you do.
Fantastic idea.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful, fantastic to have you all with us. A very exciting topic we're going to be going through, and we have 3 fantastic panelists that I'm going to be introducing you to in a second. But first of all, what I want to do is to basically just go through the agenda to make sure that everyone knows what we're going to be doing. So we will start off, and we're going to have 3 panelists with us doing a discussion and talking about obviously how we do engagement, how we make sure we can try and keep people into our actual companies to make sure they stay with us. And this is the main point about what we're going to be discussing. I will introduce the panelists in a second. Now, after this, we're going to have 3 breakout rooms, which will allow you to have a discussion with our DEVELOR trainers with regard to possibilities that you can utilize. And obviously, we'll go over those to make sure you understand which one of the 3 breakout rooms you want to go into. It is your choice, whichever one you want to go to. Okay. All right. So that will be happening after we've had the panel discussion. So after the panel, don't go anywhere because there is more to carry on. And I think that's the time when you can really sort of get into this and discuss what is going on. All right. We've had our wonderful energizer, which has completely confused and baffled everybody. So in that case, I'd better get on to what we're going to be doing. Prior to Csaba giving his keynote speech, Csaba is the Managing Director for our Hungarian office. I would just like to quickly introduce the panel members that you're going to be listening to. So over here, we have now, where are my pieces of paper? There we go. All right, so we see Irina Aristova. Now, Irina has been fantastic career, 7 years with BAT. She's based in Dubai. And basically, she is looking after the talent agenda for BAT APMEA West markets. Now, obviously, she can tell you a little bit more about which markets those are. Her team's portfolio is focusing on driving talent management practices, diversity, equality and inclusion, well-being, and flex framework, the implementation as well as EVP and learning and development across multiple markets. I don't think she has any spare time to do anything whatsoever, because that is an awful lot for her to do. We also have Gabriela, Gabriela's got more than 20 years of experience in HR companies, such as T-Mobile. She's got Young Rubicon, Coca-Cola. She's also been in parts of hotels, and she now works with Edenred, which is a financial services company. Now, obviously, that there's a lot more detail behind that, and it's wonderful to have her here with us. She's also done a myriad of other things. She's based over in the Czech Republic. Actually, she was one of the founders of the Learning Labs project, which based internal training in the company on a know-how of internal talents. So that is, she has so much to offer with us, and it's wonderful to have her on the panel itself. And obviously we have our third panelist here, and this is Sherine. Now, Sherine is a very accomplished senior human resources executive. She's got 20 years of experience, so there's an awful lot that she will be able to tell us, an awful lot she's going to be able to speak about, so that we can really, get in and understand what it is like from her market. Now, obviously, she is the HR transformation. Leading the transformation process with regard to Banque, which is over in Cairo. But before that, she has the most amazing career. She's worked over in Emirates NBD, so our other panelist knows that well, Xerox, and also the British Council. So what we have here is three extraordinary people who will be sharing their thoughts as we go through. But before we do that, obviously what I want to do is to introduce you through to Csaba, if you would like to go through and do your keynote speech. Csaba, the floor is yours.
I'm here. Thank you so much, Keith, for the intro, and good morning, everyone. And this is a small town in Hungary, the middle of Hungary. It's called Mór, 13,000 people. This is my mom lives, actually. And I had a call recently with her, and she shared her concerns about that. Her dentist moved to retirement. The dentist got retirement, and she's got to find a new one. And we met over the weekend and asked about her experiences, that whether she could find a new dentist for the dental checkup. And she, with excitement, she told the story that he visited a new guy, and actually what he found, he met a fantastic person from Jordan. So the new dentist is coming from Jordan, 3,000 kilometers away. He doesn't speak a word of Hungarian. He communicates with the patients through his assistant. So 3,000 kilometers to set up a new practice in Hungary. And there's another news from the recently. This is in the Hungarian newspapers. You can check it nowadays. That there's a news that bus drivers are coming from the Philippines. So people from the Philippines will drive city buses on the streets of Budapest, and they travel 10,000 kilometers to have a job in Europe. And these are just two examples why retention is a key challenge for many countries and many HR people, because there's a war for workforce, there's a war for talent globally. And this is what these are the days what we are living in. What is the reason behind? Actually, in many countries, there's an aging population and there's less and less workforce. That's why there's a competition and there's a war for talent and war for workforce across many countries. And that's why we are here today, actually, to talk about how to elevate retention at your companies, how to stand in this war for talent, which is a global phenomenon. If you look at Gallup's Global Workplace 2023 report, it shows a map that where people answer that it's a good time to change job recently. And you can see the distribution. There are countries where they say that it's not a good time to change jobs, but there are some countries where it's considered to be a good time to change jobs. North America, Australia, and talking about Europe, where I'm from, and I'm calling from recently now, it seems that today many people say that this is the time to change jobs and open new opportunities. That's why attrition is a problem, and that's why maintaining high level of retention is a problem for many HR people. And if you look at the phenomenon, high attrition at your company, this is the surface of the thing. And if you go beyond, the root cause can be maybe low level of engagement. So low level of engagement can drive high attrition. So if you want to solve the retention problem, maybe you've got to look at the engagement as a phenomenon. Is it high at your company? What level are you compared to your competition? Satisfaction and engagement, sometimes we use as a synonyms in our terms, but are they the same? But actually they are similar terms, but they are not the same. Actually, if you talk about satisfaction, it's a feeling regarding to the job and the job conditions. And if you talk about the engagement, it's more like a positive emotional bond. It's commitment to the organization, which drives the people, your employees, to take an extra mile, to make an extra mile. This is the discretionary effort on their own. So they are linked, but they are not the same thing. And if you review your teams, your employees, you can find that all 4 blocks are existing. And there are people in all 4 blocks or 4 sectors. There are people in your organization who's got high satisfaction level and low engagement level. Probably they will stay, but they will work from 9 to 5. So you just do the bare minimum, probably. Mm-hmm. If you have in square number 2, which is where the satisfaction level is high and the engagement level is high, you are lucky. But obviously, you've got to do things to maintain this level. And if you have many people in the 3 who's got low satisfaction and low engagement, probably these are the ones who are sitting now behind the computer and searching the job engines and searching the job portals for new jobs. This is the model we are discussing in details at our Engaging Leader training. And we will, at this training, we also think about what kind of strategies we've got to apply in different kind of segments of your workforce. In one of the breakout rooms, my colleague Tadej Petek will discuss in details the Engaging Leader training. So if you are interested in this model and how to work with that, and also the Engaging Leader training, please join that breakout room. Gallup says that 23% of the global workforce is engaged, which actually is a record high number, looking back into the previous years. So is it a good number? Should we be happy about that? Yeah, we can perceive the word as the glass is half full. But actually, on the other hand, there are 77% of the population of the workforce is not engaged. So there's a huge room for improvement. And as we discussed earlier, that lack of engagement is a driver for attrition. So it creates a retention problem for you. So it shows that how much we can do globally to improve engagement at our companies. If you look at the variation of the engagement, there's a huge variation across continents and countries. And again, just looking at Europe, my home continent, what we saw that people perceive that this is the good time to search for new jobs, and the engagement level is low. So that means that probably in Europe we have a high level of problem talking about retention. And just to understand the differences, we invited panelists from different parts of the world, so we can have an overview of how they perceive these situations at their companies in Europe, North Africa, and also in the Middle East. So I'm really curious to hear about our panelists, how they perceive the retention problem at their companies and at their regions. So we've got to create a positive emotional bond if we want to create engagement and if you want to keep our people. Obviously, money matters. So you've got to pay your workforce at par with the competition. You've got to provide them fair compensation package, because otherwise they will absolutely leave you. But this is the kind of precondition for retention. But if your people are engaged, they are more likely to say no to headhunters. They are more likely to stay even in bad times, and they are more likely to provide their best of their capacities and skills for the company to strive. So that's why engagement is a key factor, and that's why investing in engagement improvement is a key to keep the attrition level down. In other words, elevate the retention at your company. And at this stage, I'm really curious about your view. We saw the geographical distribution across the continents, that where the engagement is high, where it's a good time to leave the companies and search for the new jobs. So I would like to launch, and I would like to ask my colleague Flora just in a second to launch a poll, and I would like to request you to answer these very two simple questions. The first question is that, to what extent employee attrition is a challenge at your company? Not at all, to a small extent, average to some extent, and to a great extent. And the second question is about the engagement, whether it's a problem or it's not a problem for you. So please click on the answers, click on the poll, and I'm really curious to see, we have 221 people in this room. So it's a great panel, and I'm just seeing that the results are coming in. So I would like to ask you to take your time, just 10 seconds, and think about to what extent the engagement is a problem at your company, or to what extent attrition is a challenge at your company. I see that there are already 50, 53, or lots of answers are coming in. You still have 1 minute to answer. If you are checking in on mobile phones, probably you cannot see this poll. If you are checking in on computers, probably you can answer this poll. And already 91% answered the question. 96. We still have a few seconds. So please rate. Please give a feedback to this audience. And to what extent attrition is a problem and a challenge at your company, or to what extent engagement is a problem at your company. 134 people answered. 15, 17 people answered. And we will wait another 15 seconds to get all the answers. I'm getting really curious to see, because there's so much distribution and variation across continents, and we have registrants from 19 countries in the APMEA region, basically. So we are representing this part of the world. 130 people answered. Are we getting more answers? Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm finishing the poll in 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, the last answer. The last few answers are coming in. I don't want to exclude you, but now I've got to end the poll. Thank you so much for your answers. We are showing you 139 people's answers. And I'm hoping that you see the results as well. Can you see the results on your screen? Please give me a vocal feedback. So, to what extent employee attrition is a challenge at your company? Again, 139 answers. And the majority of the people said that it's a kind of, you perceive this challenge as an average challenge. Some extent said, so it's a kind of positive, it's a kind of challenge to 33%. And 13 people said, or 13%, sorry, said to a great extent. And there are some lucky ones, 5%, who said that attrition is not a problem for you. So we would like to really invite you into breakout rooms to share your positive experiences and your positive practices. Otherwise, most people said that it's a kind of challenge. Moving on to question number 2, to what extent employee engagement is a challenge at your company? Yes, it seems that pretty much similar distribution. But some lucky people also said that engagement is not a problem, 4%. So we are inviting those 6 people to share their positive experiences and how you are, what you are doing to maintain engagement high at your company. Thank you very much for participating in this small poll. We will share the results in the follow-up material. Moving on.
Moving on.
Yes. Can you see my next slide?
Yes, I can see your next slide, Csaba.
Thank you so much. So why attrition is a problem and why retention is a challenge globally? Because remote work got widespread. So you can stay at your home and from the same desk, you can check in and you can work for other companies in another country and even in another continent. Great resignation started over COVID. So people thought that maybe this is the time to do something differently, even change completely the careers. And also quiet quitting is a new phenomenon. That means people tend to work from 9 to 5. These are the people who's got satisfaction are at an okay level, but engagement is a very low level. And other one is that fatigue, mental health, and burnout makes nowadays the engagement leveling up difficult, and also people to stick at a certain company. They are trying to find new solutions and new ways and new circumstances to manage this kind of mental issues and burnout. And just tapping back into the Gallup survey as well, at record high, 44% of the respondents said that they suffer or they experience stress daily. So this is the stress level what we are currently living on, which makes the engagement level increasing for the HR people nowadays. And also there's a challenge that we are working in more and more diverse conditions and organizations, and especially age diversity creates a lot of problem. And this is the first time when 4 generations live together, work together, and there are actually big gaps between the incoming Generation Z and Generation X. So there are frustrations about the inclusivity of the workforces, and HR it creates HR and leaders for a great challenge. So where to begin the solution here? So it's a big mass, lots of complex problems, lots of things are contributing to this situation. Where to begin? There's a new saying that retention is a new recruiting. So if you want to maintain your workforce, you've got to work on retention, no question about that. And if you look at your staff, your team at work, and you should fly over and you take this helicopter view, you can see that it's not one big team, but there are segments and clusters within that. And you've got to understand the clusters, and you've got to find solutions by this cluster. And actually, my colleague, Joel Pozwai, who will lead one of the breakout rooms, he will introduce the employee journey design. So how to understand the needs of these different clusters in your organization, and how to find solution to satisfy their needs. And this will be the employee journey design breakout room after the panel discussion. But if you look at the magnifier level of your teams, you will find individuals, and please be ready to create flexible solutions and flexible HR policies so that you can meet the individual preferences and you can find solutions for that. And this is the kind of dual approach we are recommending you to fix attrition problem. Actually, what we see that you've got to apply 3 kinds of strategies. First, that you've got to work on attracting new talents, retain the newcomers, because the high attrition rate on the first day, and also especially in the first 3 months, this is what we are experiencing. So you've got to first to get the applicants to sign your offer, and obviously you've got to work, especially at the beginning of the employee journey, to retain the newcomers. At the same time, you've got to work on engaging your staff. So engagement survey makes a lot of sense, and continuous improvement on engagement makes a lot of sense, and it requires to elevate retention in your organizations. And maybe you remember Frederick Herzberg, who talked about that if you look at the work conditions, there are some kind of conditions which he calls hygiene factors, which are not contributing to the satisfaction, but the lack of these conditions contribute to lack of satisfaction. For example, if there's heating in the office, nobody says that, wow, it's a great workplace to work for. Or if there's okay internet, nobody says that, wow, this is a fantastic, they provide us internet daily. But if there's no internet connection, people will say that, oh, what an organization, but probably they didn't pay the bill or something like that. And there are other work conditions which motivates the people, which really engages people, which really energizes people. So when you design your HR programs and when you design and think about your intervention, you think about your intervention, whether this intervention will be a hygiene factor where people got used to it and does not improve work satisfaction or engagement further, or it's a true motivator which contributes to engagement and long-term motivation. There's a great story in the book by Sean Aker, The Happiness Advantage. He describes a story when he visited Google's head office and he delivered a speech. And he was having a lunch with the colleagues there. And he just overheard accountants complaining about the long queue for the free sushi lunch. So people, when HR probably launched at Google the free sushi lunch on Friday, probably they thought it's a good idea, and probably it was a job satisfier for some time. But you see, did it contribute to engagement level of these accountants? Probably not. So you've got to consider what you are investing your time and effort and money, whether they will contribute to higher engagement or just it will become a hygiene factor. And if you cancel that, it will create dissatisfaction as opposed to job satisfaction. And this is the key character. Let me introduce the key character of the elevating retention story. Let me introduce you the immediate manager of your team, of your workforce. And it can be a team leader in a white-collar environment as well. Because retention is highly dependent on the immediate manager's behavior. So I really would like to draw your attention to develop these people, not only to become better leaders, but also to become engaging leaders. And my colleague Tadej Petek will speak in details in the breakout room how to do that, and our training how to support that in the engaging leading training. So leadership development is a key to elevate retention. And actually, there's no magic in elevating retention. You've got to do a lot of things, and you've got to apply many steps, and the test and learn is a part of that. But if you want to learn one recipe, what we love, and we apply it for, I think in the past 10 years, this is the magic marble. These are the pillars of engagement. So if you work on the meaning of the company and meaning for the people, autonomy, growth, development opportunities, are other words, how to show the impact of the people of everyday job, and how to create connection with managers and with colleagues. We think it's a great framework to work on and to elevate retention in your teams. And I'm sure that many of you recognize this character from the movie Forrest Gump. And maybe you remember that whatever this guy started, accidentally he became good at this job. He started running, and he created a fashion of jogging in the States. He saved comrades in the Vietnam War and got recognition from the president for that. He started to play table tennis, and he found himself in the World Championship playing against the Chinese team. And also he became good at helping his friend to become and set up a business for fishing for shrimps. So whatever he did it with passion. And I wish you to find this passion in your workforce, in your colleagues. And I wish you to improve the passion for the job content, for the company, for the strategy, for the colleagues, so that you can elevate engagement, and so that with that you can elevate retention in your team. Thank you so much for your time and for your attention. And I would like to invite you after the panel discussion for the breakout rooms, because Zsolt Pozsvai will talk about the employee journey design in one of the breakout rooms. My colleague Tadej Petek will talk about the engaging leader training. And myself, I'm going to talk about how to design employee persona and what the heck is all about, and how to design employee value proposition. And I'm really curious to hear about our panelists and their views on how to elevate retention. And it's over to you, Keith, and the panelists. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Csaba. Excellent. A lot of food for thought and a lot of things we were talking about there, but let's find out what this comes out in reality. And I would like to sort of go over to our panelists. Now, obviously, I introduced them beforehand. And Sherine, so a question to you. I mean, you have a vast market in that way in one country itself. What are the challenges, I mean, within the Egyptian labor market? And more pointedly, how easy is it for you to find new colleagues? Are you unmuted?
Yeah.
There you are. Hi.
Hi, how are you? Thank you.
I am very well indeed. Wonderful for sparing us the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, I mean, like you rightfully described, Egyptian market is huge, but in so many ways, it's very similar to most other markets. We have our challenges and we do have our perks as well. Of course, we have an average age of 24 years, around 10 million aged between 15 to 19-year-olds who are soon to be injected in the workforce. So the opportunity for talent is abundant, given proper preparation to the business needs and so on. Egyptians by nature, I'm sure we've proven this over the past years, we're a very resilient community, considering all what we've been through. But we also value family time, and we value having our good time, you know, taking our times off and so on, going back home and so on. But in general, our challenges are, if I'm going to summarize them, it's going to be in retaining talents. We have, I mean, especially in the banking sector, since I'm now heading HR for one of the top largest banks, 3 largest banks in Egypt. In the banking sector, we do have a serious issue. I mean, like in multinational FMCGs, it's very unusual for people to move from Coke to Pepsi, but for the banks, the CV goes on. They move from one bank to another, so retaining talent is a problem. I mean, at the moment, we're facing a problem of the good talent being headhunted from GCC. I mean, it used to be Dubai, then became Qatar, and now we have Saudi. Like I was in a panel recently, one of the biggest multinationals in Egypt, they lost 3 of their top management. All 3 of them are going to Saudi, which used to be unusual. It used to be the younger generation moving to GCC, but now we see seasoned also experts leaving. Of course, the economic pressure we are going through is not a secret to anyone. We've encountered 2 devaluations to our currency, and we are expecting maybe a 3rd one to be coming our way. So this is making things a bit rough for people. Preparing talents and their skills is something that we focus on. We really, I mean, we take pride in how much we invest in our people to prepare them for their jobs at the moment and for their lives in general. Finding new colleagues is a bit of a challenge, to be honest. I mean, in spite of this huge population we have, but it's not that easy. I mean, I used to live in Dubai. It was so much easier to find talent. But I mean, we do have quite a few headhunters in Egypt, but it's not serving the purpose. I mean, there is no real, I mean, of course, we all have access to LinkedIn and all the search engines and so on, but it's not very easy. I mean, it is quite a struggle to find good talent. Yeah.
Brilliant. All right. Thank you so much, Sherine. Yeah, it's interesting when you were saying about the age of your population, you know, 24 and sort of ready to go into that workplace. it's quite a unique time that you're having.
Yeah.
Irina, you're managing a huge region. I mean, if I asked you to name all of the countries you're dealing with, then that would basically take the rest of this session. But so it's basically Middle East, it's Pakistan, North Africa, etc. So do you have these similarities in terms of the labor market, or is it completely different with regard to your area or not? Irina, you're muted. No problem at all. I'll let you get that, and then it should come on fairly quickly. Try again once more. Let's allow you to get that sorted out. And what I'll do is I'm going to go over and talk to Gabriela. Now, obviously, you are dealing with one country which is similar to what Sherine was saying, but is it different in your market? I mean, if you look at, you want to get new talent, what are the challenges you're facing over there?
Honestly, I'm responsible for two markets, Czech and Slovak, and it's small markets because in Czech we are like 10 million, in Slovakia 5 million citizens. So it's really small markets, but open to joiners for other countries as well. But true is that in both countries, the unemployment rate is really, really low. I will say that in Prague, in the capital city of Czech Republic, it's almost zero or maybe minus unemployment rate because everybody has work. So if we are speaking about the war of the talents, we are definitely fighting for the talents because we need to attract them from different companies because they are not free on the market and just looking around. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I will say that to attract the right people, the fit, what we need, because we are not so hungry for new joiners. We are a quite stable company. It's not so big issue. It takes more time. That when I started my HR career 20 years ago, it was easy. Right now, it's just tougher. But the main issue and the main focus, I will say, is the retention. We have talents and we are aware about them and we need to keep them, not to lose them.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, it's not so big issue to find somebody. It takes some months, of course. It's not like everybody is going on the streets. We need to create the conditions for to be, nice, for to be attractive. And it's, as Csaba mentioned, it's not only about the money. Money is the issue, but it's about the package. And the package means as well the conditions based on the flexibility, based on the, purpose. Just people would like to have some kind of vision. They would like to be part of something which is visible, which makes sense, which they can identify with. So what we are working for the retention perspective, it's about the purpose, it's about the engagement, it's about the emotional connections, as Csaba mentioned already as well. And so that's why we are working with manager a lot, because HR could have nice ideas how to attract somebody and what programs we can have for the retain people, but line manager is not the right fit for the managerial role. It doesn't work at all. So I will say that our market is quite specific based on the unemployment rate what we have. The age is not so low as Sherine mentioned, because the population is just ordering as in other European countries. The question is the discussion about the, expectation from Generation Z and expectation of people in my age and maybe older. That's these openness and, the diversity in these words, I will say, makes completely different sense as it was like 10 years ago. It was, female, male, and, how they are looking up right now. It's more about the, everybody is there, just it's different, and we need to find a way how to be happy together and engaged, of course.
Happy and engaged. It seems like a perfect scenario there, if we put those together. Brilliant. Thank you. Irina, are all of your people happy and engaged? I would obviously coming back to you. You have a huge market that you're dealing with. So in that way, what are the similarities? What are the differentiations? I mean, we've got one which is the large country, and then we've got the Czech and Slovak as an area. So you've got two different populaces. Yours is spread over a vast region.
Let's just check, Keith, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. It's perfect. It's
Oh,
brilliant.
wonderful. It's already success. Yeah, we are quite diverse. We are quite diverse. It's a large geography, so we're covering countries from Azerbaijan all the way to Pakistan. And there is obviously a huge piece there in Middle East. And I think the answer to your question will be yes and no. I'll probably start with the similarities first and foremost. We see this very clearly with our existing population, but also with the external talent and sort of what they deem important when they join the company, that there's a lot of focus, as Gabriela mentioned, on purpose and why exactly you are joining the organization and how you are planning to fulfill your own aspirations and your needs, and whether these needs are aligned with what the company is doing. So that's probably the main thing that we are focusing quite a lot. There's a lot of value in diversity and flexibility. So we could see this from our internal surveys, but we can also see from the statistics that we get insights from the social media when we attract talent. We can see that there's a lot of content that resonates with the candidates on how we apply the diversity of thinking. Are we looking at different elements of diversity? Do we have flexibility in place? Do we have location agnostic roles in place? That all plays a very huge part. And this is probably quite consistent across all of our markets where we operate, all of our geographies. And the last thing that people probably see as very important, and again, doesn't really matter which country we operate with, is this ability to build their own portfolio of capabilities and careers. So they have different ways of how they want to do it. Some of them are, in the long run, they would like to have a long-term career with BAT and stay with us for 10 plus years. Some of them are here for a very short-term experience. But the essence of the fact that they're trying to build something for themselves from the career perspective remains the same. Where you see the huge difference is from the external labor market perspective, which is usually driven by, in our case, by the political and economical situation in the country. So, for example, when we talk about our largest business, which we have in Pakistan, it's extremely impacted over the past 2 years by economical and political unrest, which impacts our reward proposition, which impacts the levels of inflation. So we're constantly keeping up with that. Plus, there's a huge brain drain that we are seeing there. And this is usually the main reason why people leave us in Pakistan, where we have a huge business of almost 1,000 of employees. So that means that they're trying to get out of the country. It doesn't really matter whether they're employed by us or by someone else. It's a mutual problem. In countries like Middle East, we probably see this a little bit less, but we do see other challenges on the external labor market. There's a lot of nationalization, and there's a lot of quotas in place for different organizations. We are quite strongly represented, for example, in Saudi, in Iraq. So we have to have a look at how does this work from the requirements of the country and the government of the workforce. And then you've got quite interesting markets in North Africa, where this continuous sort of volatility happening. For example, we have a very big business in Sudan, and this year we're obviously going through quite a difficult situation there. And you start thinking about different things that are important to employees. And it's interesting because Sudan is a great example how engagement solves a lot of things, and how you care about your employees actually solves a lot of things for you in terms of retention. Because despite a drastic situation that we've been going through this year in Sudan, the level of care and the level of security and support that the company has provided translated them then in very high engagement scores in the employee survey at the end of the year. So despite the fact of what they are seeing externally. Central Asia is a very specific region as well, and Caucasus is a very specific regions. In some of them, you can see interesting sort of influence on the labor market with their proximity and closeness to Russia, of course. So there is some impact, obviously, from that perspective. And some of them are mostly looking for local talent. Some of them are mostly looking as our businesses for providing international careers. So external factor plays a role, bottom line. But at the end of the day, what people are looking for in an employer, and in our example, is relatively the same.
Okay. All right. Brilliant. Thank you so much. A huge wealth of information coming from all three of our panelists, which is brilliant. But a lot of the times, I mean, we're talking about these regions and what's happening over here. But I think what people are looking for is, okay, what are the tricks? What are the tips? What can I do? How can I engage? How can I do this? How can I keep my people together? And so my next question on from this And this is to all three of you, all three of the panelists. And this is basically, okay, and this is about the well-being. Now, obviously, you know, Irina just touched on this, talking about the well-being within the regionalities, but it's also, what do you do from the HR point of view with regard to, you know, how are we able to improve staff well-being, bearing in mind that depending on the region, we might well be using hybrid as well as office locations and something in between as well. So let's think, Gabriela, can I come to you first on that? So what are the specifics that you are doing to address and to make sure or be aware of well-being with regard to your staff members?
I mentioned that we are quite stable company, and true is that all engagement surveys, when we have, just during the time we have, in all surveys, our managers are the top line. So managers are the crucial one, and people respect and feel respected by them. So managers is the key. True is that a lot of our line managers are newly in the role. They never led anybody before they join us, and they start to be managers. So they are respected like experts. But what we need to do and trying to do is to develop them in the leaders' roles, not like being on the managers, because they need to understand, and they are doing that by themselves, by the heart, that they invest the time, presence to the people around them to build the care feeling. You know, you can have the environment about the understanding, open door policy, and the other thing that helps to feel, be part of. But the main thing is the time and the understanding that to be a manager means that I need have the time for my people to offer them to, you know, understand the purpose, understand the respect, take feeling that everybody cares about me if I have the issue or if I have the idea as well. So not, you know, everybody are stuck.
But do you teach your managers this, or is it something which comes?
Yes, we are doing that. Yeah, we have the
taught.
program. We have definitely the program for the line managers to develop that, to understanding what manager role means.
Yeah.
That is not only, you know, approving of attendance, but it means it's definitely more. Sometimes it's as well, you know, to become the managers means that I have the logo of managers in my business cards, and it's an ego thing, but we're trying to do it differently. And of course, the most tricky thing from the business perspective is not only teach managers to have time for the people, but as well allow them to have the time for the people.
Very true, very true. Thank you. Sherine, same question over to you. Tricks and tips, how are you doing it? Because obviously your situation is very different from this perspective.
I mean, yeah, it is different from more than one angle. One angle is the population. We have 9,000 employees plus, I mean, with their families and so on. So we take care of them as well. I mean, like, for example, we have a very strong medical program. This is something that's very important in Egypt because we do not have the country strong system, like, for example, in other countries. So they depend heavily on that and their families. We also like to make them feel how much we care for them. So, for example, the employee's mother or father, they're not included naturally in our program. However, we make sure that they can benefit from our preferential rates. So even I don't involve the bank in the invoice, in the final invoice. However, they get the discount, which is something that our employees value. We have something very special also that we offer even after people retire. We continue to cover them and their spouses. The retiree employee and the spouse, they're covered for life. So that's something that our people really, really value. On the other hand, we always take part in the surveys, like the financial surveys with Korn Ferry and so on. We participate every year to make sure we stay on top of our game. We always revisit, for example, our life insurance policy. Of course, the employee doesn't benefit from that in his lifetime, but still, I mean, it's good for the employee to feel that his loved ones are taken care of. We have our programs of, we do well-being programs. We bring in people either to lecture, to present lectures or things like that about how people can balance their lives and so on. We have, it's a concept, I don't know if you have that in other countries, but we have something like a bazaar, it's, we bring, for example, shops that sell healthy food, that prepare healthy meals, and we have a place on our 5th floor that we gather them and employees can visit. So this is something that is very liked by our employees. For example, when it is the back to school season, we bring vendors who can offer them school supplies at a preferential rate, at a discounted rate. So whatever it is, the employees feel like we are keeping their back, we are always there for them. So this gives a very positive vibe in the workplace.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Anyone out there in the HR community, I think that is the most spectacular idea. Thank you for that. I expect various countries to be having bazaars about, especially going back to school and things like that, because a lot of times you don't have time to go and do these, and having them come to your workplace is just a brilliant idea. So, right, brilliant. Thank you so much. All right, Irina, if you can keep it brief. Tell me.
I think employee engagement, I would say, starts with employee listening and understanding very deeply what do employees mean by being engaged, and what is it that they mean, for example, by well-being, because well-being becomes a very buzzword these days. So we, similar to Gabriela, we enjoy high levels of engagement in our organization, but for us it's key to understand, with the diversity of markets, why exactly the rates are so high. So what is it that exactly the employees value? What we see is that flexibility, of course, is very important, but it's also flexibility to do what. So for some of them, it's very important to be able to work from home or to work remotely. So we've got this in place in certain framework in different markets. For some of them, particularly if we take our Middle Eastern markets where everybody is from somewhere, it's very important to spend a lot of time with the family during, for example, the summer holidays. So we link our flexibility with the ability to work from anywhere for a certain period of time during summertime. For some of them, for some of our markets, it's extremely important that there is a lot of time and a lot of resources are dedicated for capability development. So if we take markets like Algeria, Sudan, we see very strongly that our people would like us to invest more in L&D and make it very convenient to them. So it needs to be digital L&D. So we invest in that. But the key to all of this, we've noticed, and I think Gabriela made this point very, very strongly on the quality of the line managers, because it all starts with the closest person that you work with, which is your line manager, which is your supervisor. So the ability to upskill them on the importance of psychological safety, how to build trust, how to understand different generations of the workforce, that's effectively what creates that environment where I, as an employee, feel very included and I feel safe and my well-being is not compromised. So that is probably the most that takes a lot of our time and investment as well.
Yeah. No, I can believe it. Brilliant. Thank you. All right. So we've talked about here, we're talking about families, we're talking about these areas and how it's important to engage and to bring families in and to feel that they're not just an employee, but they are part of the company as well. And we always talk about the adage of, you don't leave a company, you leave a manager. And I think that's extremely true, no matter where you are in the world. I want to jump on because I'm very aware of the time here and having you guys here and professionals here. There are 2 points that I really want to cover. And it's basically to do with Z generation. Most of you were talking about the more mature generations, etc. But with regard to Z generation and that thought that they don't stay very long, they move on, they want to have sort of a very fast elevation into management, etc., and to be part of, and there's a big a want list in it. The first question I would like to ask our panelists is, one, how do you keep them if money is not an option? Okay, and the second one here, how do you overcome this trend of silent quitting? So those are the two things that I'd like to cover in the few minutes that we've got left. Which one of our panelists wants to have a stab at that first? I know two very hard questions.
I'm happy to go ahead.
Thank you, Irina. Please carry on.
We are quite obsessed with understanding the generations right now in BAT because we have huge programs on internships and global graduates. So it becomes a prevalent workforce for us. So we try very hard to get to the bottom of the motivators and who they are. I think it starts from them, and it starts with the line managers as well. So what we do for the line managers, we started in bite-size format through immersions where they all sort of together can gather as senior leaders. We educate them on the differences between generations and what are the motivators and how they prefer to build their career. But we also make sure that Gen Zs are also part of that conversation. And quite often, if you actually start talking to Gen Zs, you can see that they are very self-aware about what they bring to the table, but also what they are missing. And when we start talking to them about it, they are very clearly saying, okay, well, we do need your help in helping us to build resilience and patience. We do need you to coach us better because we are actually looking up to you. Yes, we do require extra reward and recognition, but it's not because we are, vain, but it's also because we continuously require this for ourselves because we are massively, we're lacking self-confidence. So understanding them and where it's all coming from really does help our line managers to then connect and sort of myth bust this whole concept that this is, a spoiled, impatient generation, because it's not really the case. And I think all of us, we also need to appreciate that they were brought up at a very different speed in terms of technology. And indeed, their careers will be probably progressing much faster than for all of us on this call. And it's absolutely normal. They innovate better. They speak up far more often. They do have opinions at their age, which, for example, I did not have. And it's a good thing. So I think this is something for us to understand and appreciate. And I think it's important. On your second question, in terms of silent quitting, I think it's also understanding that when we talk about things like turnover, it's not always a disaster or a bad thing. Depending on what your organization wants to have in terms of your workforce, sometimes it's fine for those people to leave and potentially even come back to you after they did a gig outside. So not everybody needs to be fully retained. If you're having a completely disengaged group of people, you have to be very smart with where you're spending your time. Do you spend more of your time and resource on those who are highly engaged and actually take it to the next level? Or do you throw all of your efforts to the group which is completely disengaged? And I think it's a very important distinction that we need to be able to make.
Yeah, is getting that balance. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Okay. Which one of you wants to go next?
Maybe I will be in the next one because I fully, agree what Irina said.
Hold on, you two are agreeing on an awful lot of things. What's happening here?
All right. Now.
Yeah, go on, Gabriela.
Great minds.
No, just one important thing. This quiet quitting is, again, about the managers to be able to see that and understand that there is happening, because the respect of that means that the engagement and the satisfaction of the rest of the team just, downing. It's needed to be, to look around, to speak, to see the performance. Again, managers, because the respect of nothing doing means that the others will inspire by that and start to doing nothing like the others because nothing happened. So, just good results and good ambassadors, I will say, are as well the inspiration for the others. And if the ambassadors are okay, it's fine that he's doing nothing and it's okay, he still received a salary and he still has the career. So why I should do something? Sure. About this feeling is really important. So again, managers, and be able to as well to understand and to see that somebody is in this state of the work. That's the first thing. And of course, the fluctuation is not always the bad. And I will say that it's not about the measuring the fluctuation like fluctuation is, but it's more about to understand which is not voluntary or involuntary, but more wanted and regretted. That's, from my perspective, really important thing to measure. That's one thing. And if we are speaking about the generation Z and somehow to understanding the diversity about thinking, I mentioned it when we spoke, Keith, before. I am the generation of the Facebook. I am the Facebook generation. The generation Z is the Instagram generation. The constant feedback and constant discussion and visibility. It's more important how it's visible, and the feedback is the crucial thing of leading them. Constant feedback, I mean. Yeah. It could be quite tiring for the people which are in my age. Just, the constant feedback and make the mirror how they are, where they are, what is good, what is maybe not so good, just for them as well to understand some kind of the borders where they could develop themselves.
I understand. Brilliant. Thank you, Gabriela. Sherine.
Hi. I'll flip the order of the questions. I'll start with the second one first, just to...
Yeah, the silent quitting.
I mean, it's not really, we don't leave it to be silent at all. I agree with Gabriela that it's about regrettable and unregrettable. However, we treat both the same. We like to, for each person leaving the organization, our HR business partners, they hold the exit interview, they take their notes, we analyze the data, we make sure that to use this data, whether it's regrettable or non-regrettable, to make it a better place for the people who are staying with us. Our attrition is not at a high rate at all. We are at a very reasonable rate, so we're not really struggling with that. As for your first question, I believe in the way we have been dealing with it, because like I explained, Banque is one of the biggest and the oldest banks in Egypt. So we do have our more senior citizens in the bank. But since 2018, we have hired approximately 4,000 employees, and mostly from the younger generation. So, we have a huge mix, and it was quite a challenge to bring them to the table, for both parties to work together nicely. One of the key things is training, and we started by top bottom. Yeah. We invested heavily. We tripled or quadrupled our training budget. We invested a lot in training and how to bring them to work together. We've eliminated a lot of the labeling. There were a few hidden labels within the HR team to identify whether they are from this group or this group. I've erased all this. This is not a factor at all. And we have achieved very good results. They work harmoniously together. Yeah.
Brilliant. No, carry on. If you had more to say, please carry on, because
it's okay. I'm conscious of the time as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so am I, and normally I'm terrible on time. No, so it's interesting what you guys are saying, and it's so strange that it's coming from 3 different sectors, 3 different areas. The companies you're working for, whether it's multinational, whether it's country driven, the same messages are coming across again and again and again. And it's interesting talking about the Z generation. It's a case of, okay, we want feedback. We want more feedback. Plus, if we are smart enough, we listen to what they're saying, because they will actually tell us what they want. And this, I think, is going to be one of the ways in which we can overcome, or at least start to fight this silent quitting, so that we feel that we're getting more information back from them, and it's a case of doing something about it. And also, it's ambassadors, as you were saying. Who is it that gives us the message from the workforce to say there is a problem, there is something that is good, there is something that is going on? All right, brilliant. Panelists, thank you so much for your time. I have had the pleasure of meeting you not on one occasion, but on 2 occasions. So I'm luckier than all of you over here. And basically, there's a lot of food for thought that's come on here. Obviously, this is being recorded, so therefore this can be gone over as well. And people can start to cherry pick across here to say, okay, what else can we do? How else can we move forwards? So I would like to thank you for your time. Really, really appreciate it. Very, very insightful. I'm sure everyone who's on the call will be saying the same thing. But the point is that now we move on to a different area. And it's a case of, what can we physically do about this? And as DEVELOR as a company, we have obviously certain things that we can offer to the HR community, to people, such as not just panelists, but all the people on this call. So therefore, what we will now move on to is to actually open up the breakout rooms. We have 3 breakout rooms that are going to be going on. And Csaba, if I can bring you back in just for a second, just to go over and tell us what are the breakout rooms. So from me, first of all, I'd like to say thank you so much, panelists, for your time, for your expertise, and from your insights. So thank you from us. Csaba, can you take it from here?
Yes.
Thank you.
There will be 3 breakout rooms, and you will see on the breakout rooms the titles or the names as well. So employee journey design with George Pozwai. Tadej Petek will talk about the engaging leader training, how to develop leaders. And myself, I will talk about the employee persona design and also employee value proposition. So how to attract people that will stick and they will stay. So in a second, we will open the breakout rooms, and you can choose out of these 3 ones, and please join the breakout room you want to join.
Okay, and have the breakout rooms are now open? Is that correct, Csaba? Or they will be opening?
I'm a bit confused, Flora. How can you join the? Yes, yes, you can join. Yes, you can see on the screen, and you can see, and already people are joining in the engaging leader. Yes.
There you go. You see, they're smarter than us, Csaba.
Yes, they are smarter than us. Yes. So, in your screen there's a pop-up window, and you can pick, and please pick your breakout group. Yes. And I'm leaving for my group as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Csaba. All right. And Tadej, you're going to be leaving and going into your room, I hope. All right. So who do we have left? And people are joining the rooms. How many people are joining the rooms? Excellent. Ah, okay. Right. That's what's happening. Okay. Chat. All right, so the rooms are open if you would like to join them. If you are not going to be joining the room, thank you so much for your attention. I hope that you enjoyed this session. I hope that you enjoyed the insights that have come from our panel members. They really have been quite fantastic. So, you know, a lot of food for thought. As we were saying, it's going to be, we have it recorded. So therefore, as far as I understand, this is going to be available for you to go back over. I think there's a lot of things to take away from this so that you can actually enjoy them. All right, let's just see what's going to happen now. Bits. All right, so Flora, we have